where we're going to go, because I was getting real kind of bummed out about my job, wanted to get out of the job I was at.
Well, tell about the job you were doing. You were working in
I was
in
working,
sales.
I was working well, I started out selling a really good full program dairy, all that kind of stuff, and then got bought out by, um, and got merged in with Oscar Mayer. So I was selling hot dogs, and then I was selling coffee and
Well, then it
all
was
this stuff
general
that I just
sales.
really didn't want to deal with, you know.
But your job was traveling,
I
like
was traveling, yeah, because
three
I
three weeks out of the month you would be gone for at least 3 or 4 nights.
and that was where that and that's where my planning started when I was, making the ideas of what to do in the future. And that's when I came across that computer company, and I can't think of their name right now.
So Don had been working and traveling a lot, and we talked about having a family. And we talked about not wanting someone else to be raising our children, that we wanted someone to be at home and that I could work as an occupational therapist. I had a job really close by. I could reduce my hours and you could grow a business. And so you found this,
Well, I
not sure
found
how
this.
you found it.
Yeah, well, I think it was, yeah, at that time you got mailers, I think, if I remember right, and you could buy this computer, and this was back, oh gosh, when I think it was
95,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, right around Windows 95, even and I think it might have even been before that. And with this program, there was like a whole list of things you could do with this program. And I picked on uh, two different things. One was, and one I really kind of pushed on was the one at that time I called it Traveler's Friend,
It was
which
a
I
f-
was,
it was a phone tree. You
there's a
called
phone
in
tree.
and could find out whatever city you're in.
And I did
Go.
everything with it. I mean, I made little posters for inside uh, hotels, and you and I think both worked on, you know, putting in this information about different hotels,
Churches, like if you were new
churches.
to an area, where how you found out. So basically internet, but by phone. And
Yeah.
so you call in and find out information.
And
But
that was right around the time when the internet started to kind of come into play.
which kind of put a big dash
Yeah.
in your business.
And I remember at the time deciding that I will take it to onto the internet, which at that time was a lot of work because nobody really understood it, and so you kind of played with whatever you could play with to make it work. And so I had both the phone system and online, and trying to put the same information to put on the phone system online was a bit of a task. Um, and I remember at the time too that the lady I went to, she was really good at the first part. She would take in all this information and put it on, but she kind of got tired of it, and we had a bit of a out and about with it. But uh, at that point, that's when I decided to go into web business myself. I started building my own website because I had like a week before she was going to shut me down for some reason. So I just really quickly figured it out and able to switch it. And then I happened to call in a client that I was using for the traveler's friend and got to know her really well. And she said, "You built your own site, didn't you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I did." She said, "Can you build ours?" I was like, hmm. And, and back then you did, what's trouble about that when you're first in your business, you go for whatever,
This is
to
1995, 96, and you didn't, your business background was sales and you were
yeah.
figuring it out. I remember when you got email and stuff, and we shared an account for a long time. It was all very new, and
Yeah, so it just it's a lot of work. Um and I um now I can't think where I was going, and my
so
mind just went, phew.
30 years ago, you decided to go into business for yourself, and you started out with this program to do this phone connection, traveler's friend, and have evolved over the years into so many different
Many different
areas.
versions of it,
Um,
but it's kind of come down now to, well, after, and we go back to the days when I had my first heart attack, and I had to make some decisions. And I've been working with um, who we just interviewed last week is
Jan
Jan
Luther.
Luther, and I've been working with her. We're doing the tapping for some personal reasons. You were involved with it too. You got involved with it too, and decided that I could go into business for myself doing the tapping. And again, that has morphed a couple of different times to where I am right now. And that's um, working with the senior population and using that EFT to kind of calm the nerves when you're in that journey, the long journey to the end of life, I guess, really.
Well,
Um,
and EFT comes into play in so many components. Um,
well, and today what we're doing is we're
this is
replaying.
Gina,
I'm sorry. Well, I was going to go into, uh, but anyway, hi, this is
and
Don,
this is Gina with Focused Healthy Family.
and this is podcast number 212. And today we're really looking at EFT, networking, and business building. What we're going to do today is we're going to, oh, before we do though,
Yeah,
we got a joke, don't we?
we do. So we're looking at, setting dreams and if you have some aspirations. So my goal in 2026 is to accomplish the goals I set in 2025 that I should have done in 2024 because I made a promise in 2023 that I had planned in 2021. A goal is a dream with a deadline, which is why I've decided to move my deadline to the next lifetime.
And my tip for today is to always hold on to your dreams. They can be tough to do, but being able to go put your focus where you want it to go with the business, and don't give up on your dreams. So that's our.
And one last joke because this
Oh,
is
got
a
another joke.
tribute to my father because it's a quote by Yogi Berra. If you don't know where you are going, you'll end up somewhere else.
And so what we'll do now is we're just going to go into, and this is with Network Build Grow, which is a kind of a mastermind group that I work with, and it's with Melissa Taylor, and she just really talks about how I got into business, but then also about how I use EFT in the business. So we'll leave it at that, and
Hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
Well, good morning. Good morning
good
to Mr.
morning.
Don Grothoff. How are you
I'm
today?
doing good. I'm doing good.
Great. So Don is with Focus Healthy Family, and I've known you for, gosh, about 6 or 7 years now. It's been a
Something
while.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So first, before we get started into some things, tell us a little bit about, Focus Healthy Family and what you guys do there.
Well, my emphasis in it is doing the EFT tapping. It's something that is there to help people reduce their anxieties, and we work towards senior populations with the caregivers, especially helping them. My goal is helping them to bring down that anxiety that I've been through. We just came through with my father-in-law where we had to deal with somebody in the senior population, and the stress level is over the chart, as far as and so my role is to helping the caregivers bring it down and to ease and be able to manage their emotions as they go through this terrible journey that people have to go through.
Yeah, it is a journey. I went through it with my dad as well, and of course, my mom and my stepdad are now, moving towards that. So, tapping. I have to be honest, sounds a little strange.
It's
Tell me a
very
little bit
weird.
more. Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I've been doing it for 20 some years myself, and when I first got pulled into it, it was kind of by my wife, like kind of pulling my ear to go to this, the who became my mentor of it, but Jan Luther, and I thought it was the craziest thing in the world, it's tapping and what, you know, and but when I got into a session with her, she liked to be able to see right through me, when I do stuff, and it kind of changed my life. And throughout the process of working with her initially, she kept saying to me, you would really be good in this. And I'd say, yeah, yeah, okay, and I put it in the back of my mind, just, yeah, one of these days, one of those. And my business was totally different from that. But when my daughter got into, my first daughter got into OCD really bad,
Mhm.
and we used it for ourselves. We also used it some for her, but a lot of it was for ourselves, just to, because it was, I mean, this journey where I just did with my father-in-law wasn't half the journey of what I went through with the OCD. It was a very tragic time for us,
Mhm.
and being able to get through it and be able to hold our sanity while we're there
Right.
was a lot. So this tapping process is just a method of, the way I like to put it is, if you think about your home, think about the electricity or energy coming into your home, comes in through a big wire that's outside, and it has to be distributed out to all the computers and the lamps and all the things in the house. It's done through the wiring in the wall. Well, our body is very similar to that. About 95% of what goes on up here is electrical or energy, and our whole body needs that energy. Our cells, our organs, our brain, everywhere needs that. And so within us, we have what I call invisible wires, these little pathways that distribute that energy. They're called meridians. If you've ever done acupuncture, you put those little needles along those pathways of that energy. Well, instead of doing that, we literally tap on the end points of those pathways to get them to calm back down, because when we get into a traumatic place,
Mhm.
those things get fired up and they set us into fight or flight, which is really what anxiety is, what stress is. And so we have to get them back in alignment. We have, because what it's doing, it's setting that fight or flight up, and that does some physical things to us that most people don't think about. In
Hmm.
our body, it's building up cortisols and adrenalines and things like that, which are great for, we got to step back. What it came from, what I think was cave days,
Right.
when
Yeah.
they had to be worried about the next, what a pterosaur, whatever those,
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
yeah, those things attacking us. And so it was there to build up our strength, get us strong for having to deal with that, either run from it or deal with it. Up here, it literally shuts down parts of the brain that it doesn't need for that battle until afterwards. It needs it afterwards. The immune system is one of them, and the upper thinking parts of the brain is the other one that it shuts down or hampers. And so that's great for, like I say, if we're in that battle. But nowadays, we're not there. We're worried about the next bill that we have to pay, or a test coming up at school, or some plan at work.
Yeah, it's not a
No,
like a death facing death or facing that,
those things
yeah.
still happen.
Mhm.
Souls build up. I really think that's a lot of what leads us to the diseases that we have going on.
Mhm.
We got a lot of these things going on, an immune system that's shut down, that uh, kind of, I can't do anything, I can't help you any, because it's shut down. So,
Yeah. How
so
interesting.
that's what I do. I try to help people, and I've seen some amazing stuff with it. So,
Yeah. How many years have you been, doing this
well, I've been
work?
doing for probably 23 years for myself, and
Okay.
then I've been in practice now going on 14 years.
14 years.
Yeah,
Wonderful. That's great. So now let's talk about the business side. So that's what
sure.
you do.
Yeah.
So the business side, what has been some kind of pivotal things that you have learned in running a business for yourself?
Well, the pivotal thing, and it's tough because I feel like I've kind of gotten to this place now, but there's, you go through, especially when you first start out a business, you're trying to do this and that and this. I can do. Oh, sure, yeah. My
Do it
first
all.
business, yeah, I was doing web design, but I was designing art, art ads and stuff like that, and doing all this stuff, and it was just spreading myself out too thin.
Hmm.
And as I've gone through my business, it's morphed so many times. And you got to keep your focus on what you really do. And I think this is where I finally, after how many years now of doing this, I think I've really kind of got to that place, but it
Hmm.
took me a long time to get there.
Yeah. So when you stay focused or kind of zeroed in on what you're good at
Yeah.
and then get other people to do the other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So if people are starting their business, how do they do that if they can't afford it?
Well, I did it. I guess I can open up now, but I worked for Kraft. I was in corporate,
Hmm.
and I did it in between. I was
Yeah.
fitting things in, deciding to do things. I probably took a lot of a lot of my own time doing it, and not telling the company about it. But you just kind of do it. You build it on the side and try to do it the best you can. You also look for mentors and things like that can help you out. You might even be able to get a loan. You know,
Hmm.
at the time when I first started my business, I had a package that I dealt with one of my companies with, that I was able to take it down and use the money to be able to invest in the first business, the first of many businesses at the time. But I had some money to be able to do that with,
Hmm.
because one of the companies I had a great 401k plan, and I used it.
Yeah. I think some people say that, you can also go into what's called like good debt,
Yeah,
investing in a business that can see has a return coming back
yeah. You,
is not a bad thing.
you borrow off a credit card or something like that.
Yeah. So interesting. Okay. All right. So now also, so all your businesses that you have had require customers, clients. So, and they,
Oh,
so
those
that,
things.
I know those things, right? Those pesky little things. And they require knowing other people, building kind of a community and knowing other people that can refer you out, knowing other people that know what you do.
Hmm.
So, how much has networking played into the businesses that you have
Oh,
owned?
well, I've gone through, gosh, from day one, I've gone through all the different uh, networking groups there are. I've done what's the one that you have to pay for, all of that kind of stuff. So I've been through all of those. In fact, I got kicked out of one of them for whatever reason. I don't remember at the time, but what I you know what when I came to NBG,
Hmm.
it wasn't about the next sale you could send out, the next thing you could put out. It was the ability just to meet people and connect with people, and I've connected with quite a few of those ones in the group. That's what makes a difference to me for why I've stayed in this long, because a lot of these groups I'd stay in for a year or two.
Hmm.
um, but and with my business, it's a tough business anyway. For me,
Hmm.
talking about this weird thing, they don't always get it, and they don't always give me the leads that I would need, kind of thing.
People have to get
So
to know you, really know you, because
yes,
it's a strange kind of thing.
yes,
Yeah.
and I've gotten to know the people in this group, and that's what I say. That's why I've stayed in it as long as I have, and
Hmm.
done all the things, because it it's my. I think we called it what you call it a name. I can't think of it now. It's not coming to me, but it's not a networking group as such. It's more of a, my mind can't come with it.
Well, we,
W-
we talk a lot about collaboration and strategic
yeah,
business alliances and, building those referral systems,
yeah,
not just
and
prospecting. I think
yes,
a lot of networking groups do that as well, but there are still some out there that are still more prospecting groups.
yes, and
Yeah.
you get the more local companies that are the plumber, all that kind of stuff, that they don't help me a lot. I mean, they could if they really deeply knew what I was doing. They could probably see all the anxiety people they deal with, but
Right.
that doesn't lead for me.
Yeah. You need to really build strong relationships with people who are going to take the time to understand what this tapping thing is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which just I would assume that takes a good bit of time for people just to kind of repeatedly seeing you and understanding it and
yeah,
hearing your stories.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and right now, the way I've kind of come right now, I'm kind of rebuilding my business. So I work with a naturopathic doctor, and that's where most of my clients are built into his program, and I'm trying to extend that out of that area.
Gotcha. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's talk about that. So, networking is, I love it, and one of the things we talk about with clients and inside Network Build Grow is those strategic business alliances.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that you probably align with are naturopathic doctors.
Hmm.
I think we had a conversation one time, and chiropractors, oddly enough, aren't necessarily the best connection for
Well, it
you.
just, I don't know.
Haven't
They
had a lot of luck with that.
no, I've dealt with quite a few of them, and they I hate to say it, they kind of have some. The ego is a little bit on the strong edge. Let's put it that way, and I haven't been able to do anything with them. I've had a couple that do acupuncture, and we really fit well with that because,
Hmm.
in acupuncture, you have to do it there in the office and do it. Whereas this, you can take it home and do the same thing.
Hmm.
And so that's one of the areas that I've been kind of working on. The naturopathics they haven't really recognized what this can do for them. And I've done a
Yeah.
lot in the time I've worked with a naturopathic doctor.
Gotcha. Wonderful. So those types of are good referral partners. When you look at people coming into the networking world, what's some advice that you would give to them about like how to kind of go about figuring out how to identify who would be good referral partners for them, good strategic business alliances for their business?
Well, the first one is being consistent in it. Don't come in and expect the first month you're supposed to get, 7 leads from 6 people or something. Um, you need to be able to give it time. You need to really take some time and kind of talk to the different people in the group and even have little coffees with them, things like that to get to know them a little bit so
Hmm.
you can understand what they do. Once you get to understand it, then you can work on talking to them. You want to go about it slow. The other thing is that you don't want to rush in and give them your pitch right off the bat and expect it all to be great. You want to be
Right.
able to just talk with them and slowly build your relationship with them. And by
Yeah.
doing that, then they start to know who you are and what you do, and they can help you with that.
Yeah. Now I know that you also have a podcast. You're still doing your podcast, is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
Gina and I, like I say, we were going to work on a business together, and we're still. It might take a while to get that part of it, um, but we started to doing because she's an occupational therapist, and she knows the ins and outs of every bit of the journey that we've gone through. We've done it too, but she's also been working in it. So
Mhm.
we like to get out there and give information about seniors and about a lot about caregivers and all the
Mhm.
different facilities. We've done interviews. We've done her talking. I mean, her talking. I could shut up and just let her take the rest of the podcast because her knowledge is just about anything is wonderful. So
Is
yeah.
immense. Yeah.
So I'm trying to work that out to help me to support me and then eventually help us build our thing together.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. Have you ever used your podcast in a to be able to reach out via your networking kind of
Well,
environment
I
or ecosystem?
what I do with the podcast, we have a program that'll break it down into. I can get it as short as like 1 minute if I really want to,
Mhm.
but it breaks it down into that, and so I put it out to social media.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, I haven't. I probably need. That's one thing I haven't think about is the
Mhm.
people that's in the group and kind of letting them know and asking them to pass it around, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that would be a interesting way. Um, lots of times we use our network to actually spread the word about what we're doing. So we're not asking them to send us clients. We're just saying, hey, just,
Put it out
kind of let
there.
it, yeah, just let
Yeah.
other people know what we're doing. So, all right, well, let's do a few rapid fire kind of
Uh-oh.
questions. I know, right? So, this first thing that comes to your mind, what's your favorite way to stay top of mind with people in your network?
I've been communicating with them. My nurse, the naturopathic doctors, I've been sending them letters. And I'm trying to do it once a month, just sending them articles, whatever it might be, with them because it's hard to get them to notice anything. And I figure a letter will get at least in front of them.
Yeah, so they're talking like the actual snail mail in the
And
mailbox with a
it
stamp on it.
seems a little slow, but like I say, I don't think they pay attention to
I think
uh,
it's great.
online or emails or things like that. So yeah.
I'm a big fan of in the mail. I mean, just the other day, I got a whole book from Amazon.
Oh
I
my.
mean, the number one, online retailer, and we got a book of toys for Christmas from Amazon.
Oh
So
yeah, we get those
I'm
too.
a I'm a big fan of in the mail. So okay, next question. What's your number one tip for starting a conversation at a networking event with somebody?
I think it's just a matter of walking up and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing?" I, I don't think there's any big statement you have to say. Yeah, we always go with that. Oh, what do you do? And that's kind of good, but to me, it's kind of cliche-ish. I don't know.
Mhm.
You might notice something on them. Oh, I like your jacket or whatever. Start something like that, or just walk up and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah, we don't have
I'm
to overcomplicate it.
No, that's I think we get too, I think it's why we get nervous too, is right? What do we say? Should we No, just, "Hey, I'm kinda new to this group. What do you think about it?" Something like
Yeah,
that.
have you been here before? Have you
Yeah.
been to this group before? Just anything. Just don't don't overthink it.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Okay. What's one way that you kind of, well, I guess you kind of answered this with the letters, but what's another way that you maybe add value to your network, not necessarily like the doctors that you want to work with, but just your network in general without expecting anything in return, just a way that you add value.
well, I like to be able to tell stories about, I have, my favorite lady that I got on an airplane that couldn't fly on an airplane and got her to fly to Australia. you know. So I like to share those kind of stories and know that this is real, that what I do has a lot of merit to it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think one of the other ones I would do is share stories, share articles, whatever, to let the group know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's really a good idea. Okay. And then last question. What is a tool or an app or a system that you use to manage your connections so that you don't let people slip through the cracks?
Well, I just recently changed over to this mailer light. I was doing the other one that we'd had, and I just switched to it. Was a little cheaper, but it really does the same thing, and I really kind of enjoyed it. So it
Good.
it's a way of sending out emails, sending out texts, different things to different clients, and I've got a list of about 500 right now, and you and I are working on trying to grow and build that and get that level up, and get the right mail people on that list too. So that's
Yeah.
that's that's a big one that I use a lot.
Wonderful. So if somebody wanted to, just kind of dip their toe in the tapping waters, what would be something that you would suggest that they do?
Well, there's a couple different ways. I mean, you could go onto YouTube and you could find all kinds of different people doing tapping, including myself for that matter. Um, that's one way, but you really need to work with somebody. I know that sounds weird because it looks like a simple thing to do, and it kind of is, but to understand what words, because I always have people come back to me and go, I don't know what words to say. I'll get lost on that. And so you got to understand it's really their words that they want to use, and knowing the process of it and how to infiltrate it into your life, because it's something I think I do it every day,
Right.
and I think it has a long-term effect of it. The more you do, it kind of builds a shield for you against
Okay.
things that come at you on a regular basis.
Hmm.
So I think, I hate to say it because but it's working with somebody. And it doesn't have to be me, it could be anybody. But I think it's really important to work with somebody to get to know what it really can do and how it can change your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. And we'll make sure that your information is in the show notes so that people can get in touch with you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. You're always fun to work with, Melissa. So we
Well,
love it,
thanks.
you know.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.
This is our podcast for today, and we hope you really enjoyed it. We'd love to hear from you, like Gina's saying. We'd love to hear more comments so we can turn it into our next podcast and answer those questions for you. Make sure to leave us comments wherever you're doing this from, whatever platform you're getting it, and make sure to subscribe to us. I would love to have more people subscribing to us. You can find out more about us at our website, focusedhealthyfamily.com, where we can talk about what Gina and I do together. You can do the EFT, the tapping process that I work with. I'm hoping to open up my monthly tapping sessions that I do on night, usually like once or twice a month. I do them. And you can find out how we can help others that might be going through the caregiving of a loved one that are having struggles. We can help in both those arenas. You're welcome to find us on Facebook at Focused Healthy Family, on Instagram at Focused Healthy Family 1, and YouTube at Focused Healthy Family. And you can join us each Thursday when we rebroadcast these at 8:00 Thursday mornings. This year it actually falls on January 1st, for the Happy New Year time.
And as we look to the new year, our focus has always been on caring for our children, our parents, and ourselves. So wherever you're at in that journey of juggling caregiving and multiple responsibilities, however it looks in your life, incorporating the whole family concept of navigating your journey.
And you'll find our podcast at focusedhealthyfamilypodcast.com. And remember, how you speak to your children and your loved ones today shapes their future and yours.